Welcome to Hockey on Tap podcast, episode 132, Mayhem, Game 7 Mayhem. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm, of course, here with my two co-hosts, Schwim and Little Steve.
Hi.
Schwim, this is a much better view.
That's what I said. Yep, I agree.
But, yeah, so we're let's get to that. Let's do the whole thing. Brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy Sam Wu. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you would be so kind. Gentlemen, what are we drinking? And then we'll get right to the fun.
I'll take short guy's spot, and I'll go first. I am drinking Sublimated Dreams by Burlington Beer Company, a New Zealand double IPA, which I haven't had. 8% brewed Burlington. Yeah, there's no real description here, but yeah, double New Zealand IPA. I don't know that I've had I'm sure I have. I just haven't noticed ever having a New Zealand IPA. We shall see.
Yeah, what makes a New Zealand IPA? Is there
the hops used,
okay.
Which I was trying to find on the can.
New England IPA is just New England. West Coast IPA is just West Coast. I'm
well,
this is for the listeners. I want to make sure that they understand.
Yeah, I don't know the hops off the top of my head, to be completely honest, but it's the different hops that they use. Make it, the West Coast, New England, New Zealand, I guess. But I don't see the hops on here. I'll have to look it up on Untapped, and I will let you know.
Schwimmer,
perhaps.
I found this in the back of my fridge, but thank God I found it because it's pretty damn good. Crimson Crew, Dogfish. Yeah, it was slim pickings in there. I don't know, when the hell did I get these? I think I bought like a 6-pack of these, or I forget how long ago, but 7.1% deliciousness. Had it before on here. I think I had it on here actually. So
that's a collaboration with. That's a collaboration with Rodenbach, which is one of my favorite breweries in Belgium. They make their traditional Flanders red ales, which is a natural sour. So even no additives to it. It's incredible. Everything that they make is, if you like sours, highly recommend. Alexander is like one of my favorite of all time.
I like it. All right, one of my buddies gave me this, some schmuck on this podcast. Romantic Chemistry, one of my favorite Dogfish. Thank you, buddy. India Pale Ale.
I don't appreciate the schmuck, but you're welcome.
Apricots and ginger. I think it's for me. It might be the best beer that they make. It's between this and Apra Hop. But yeah, always absolutely delicious. So
yeah. This just says it's brewed exclusively with New Zealand grown hops. They don't name them, but yeah.
Okay. All right, boys. Let's get to what's on tap for today's episode.
You want to just get Schwimm's friggin' nonsense out of the way first?
I had something going here.
Let the man speak.
I wanted to see.
I'm going to take a quick break while Schwim talks, so I just want to know when I can walk away from the set.
No. All right, so you can do it in 2 seconds. So, obviously, we're here for Game 7. It is Rangers-Devils. It is going to be an absolutely heart-wrenching, just heart attack for me this entire game. But it's Game 7. It's so much fun. It's how it always rolls, right?
A lot of Game 7s.
Yeah, so we had 2 Game 7s already. Very interesting. And they obviously, Kraken beating the Stanley Cup champions, Colorado Avalanche, and then the Bruins getting ousted by
Panthers beating the President's Trophy winner.
But Schwim, you look like you have a 5-pound fart on your head. What's going on?
Is that a direct quote, or did you come up with that?
By the way, that is a Brooksism, as in Herb Brooks said that to someone, and it's a Brooksism. So that's absolutely fantastic line. But Schwim, let's hear it. What's up with your Seattle Kraken? I mean, Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh yeah, I've switched teams. I didn't know if you guys noticed. Obviously, I was very angry on Saturday from what transpired. Yep, it is what it is. I've since Saturday calmed down and can, I guess, take solace in the fact that, you know what, I'm kind of happy for Toronto. They finally won a damn series. I wish it wasn't against my friggin' team. I'm not. But I'm trying to be good here. I'm trying to be good. I don't want to go off on everything that I think went wrong with the series, obviously. And
we want you to go off. Go off, young sir.
I don't know. Tampa sucked. They had so many friggin' opportunities to put that series away. They lost 3 home games, all in overtime. Yeah. 2 of which they had complete control in. This last game was I wouldn't say Tampa controlled the game, but I think they had more of the better play in this last game. The other 2 games, they controlled completely. And obviously that one where they're up 4-1 and lost in overtime. It was just the last 4 games, Tampa played well enough, you would think, to win a damn series, and they lost 3 of those games. So it is what it is. The friggin' overtime game-winning goal sucked. I don't know what that was. It wasn't
worse than the Carolina one. Wasn't worse than the Sorokin one.
That was bad. That was very bad. But
the Tampa one was just a bad bounce.
Which every single overtime goal against them was off of something and in.
That's how you beat Vasilevsky.
Yep. I
Facebook
guess.
Live, Alicia DeMarco says no one could tell you were upset on Saturday with a.
Absolutely not. No, I didn't say one. I don't think I said one curse word the entire time. In front of small children. I don't think I said one curse word.
It was only Eric. You could have cursed in front of Eric.
When his first full word is the F word, we know where he got it from.
Yeah. All right. So I had a couple notes, Trim, and then I'll you can expand on this a little bit.
Yes.
So Leafs Lightning. We'll go this first. Leafs end the Bolts Stanley Cup Finals run with 4-2 series win, and a 19-year drought. Keefe, check out this stat. Sheldon Keefe is the only living person who has coached the Toronto Maple Leafs to a playoff series win. Red Kelly, who passed in 2019, has been the last surviving coach to win a series for the Leafs prior to that. Wear and tear from the past 3 seasons took a toll. You could see that, especially in Vasi's play. This isn't just on him, because Vasilevsky might be the key to your entire – yeah, he was the key to most of your series wins, most of your cup wins. He was fantastic. But he finished with a 3.56 goals against average and 8.75 save percentage. Samsonov was okay for Toronto. I wouldn't say he was good. And then Matthews with 5 goals, Marner 11 points, 9 assists. Cirelli did lead the Tampa Bay Lightning in goals and points with 3 and 6.
That's a problem.
And then Kucherov 5 assists. So yeah, Tampa Bay's big 3, meaning Point, Stammer, Kucherov. They had 115 goals in the regular season, but only had 5 in total of 6 games in the playoffs. And then you had the quote from Vasi on what he could do to fight through screens better. Buy myself like effing X-ray glasses. And, you could see that the team was worn down.
When did they ask him that question? Right after they lost?
Yeah, right after Game 5. Yeah. Game 5 loss. Yeah.
6 or Game 5. Yeah. But yeah, when Cirelli is your leading scorer and like Point and Kucherov or Stamkos are not, and I think what was Hagel like the second leading scorer or Killorn?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Well, second was Kucherov, technically 5 assists in the goal.
Oh yeah, 5 assists and 1 goal, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's just everything was not. Their power play wasn't good. They're usually very good. Penalty kill obviously wasn't very good. They're usually really good at home and have a good. Their power play at home is really good, and neither of those happened.
And missing Chernak was a big.
Yeah, I think that was a big
drain
loss
on that defensive team.
He's a steady guy. He's a great shot blocking penalty killer. Clears the net out good. Like we saw that one goal where the tying goal, I think it was in Game 3. Oh, Melvin, where Ian Cole's in front of the net and just left friggin'. Oh, nice, looking good. Where Ian Cole's in front of the net and just left. What was his face? O'Reilly right there to just pump home a game-tying goal with under a minute left. It was just the defense was not good. I saw something today on it was on Twitter or I forget what, but somebody was talking about like the Jeannot trade. They traded like the 4 picks and what's his face, and he had 2 points in the regular season. He had no points in the playoffs. He didn't play. He was injured, but still. Yeah. But like they're saying, like maybe not spend all that on a guy who wasn't going to play. Maybe maybe get 1 or 2 defensemen instead because their defense was friggin' awful during this series.
You're bound to make those one of those trades where it's just a big swing and a big whiff. Because their
trades
have panned out pretty well. Yeah, they've mostly panned out pretty well. And the Hagel thing didn't look great at first, but this season he played fantastic. So that awesome. and Nick Paul also very effective.
Nick Paul kind of,
but did you know? But is he restricted or is he still under contract?
He's still under, I believe.
RFA. I thought
he's an RFA. I'm not sure, but if I'm hoping he can kind of have a bounce back like Hagel did. Getting a full training camp with them and maybe being more effective come next season. But big changes again. They have a friggin' huge turnover every single year. You got to think Killorn is probably going to be gone. He's a free agent. Belmar, I think, is gone. Hopefully Corey Perry's gone. I hope he doesn't come back.
According to
I don't know about Maroon. I don't know if he's a free agent.
Pat Friendly, he is an RFA.
Who? Jeannot is?
Jeannot, yeah.
Okay.
Now, Tampa Bay Lightning, I did see you guys are losing a good amount, and it includes, you just named, I think, 3 or 4 of them. But give me total salaries. Sorry. All right, so after the season, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, Corey Perry, Isimont, Killorn, Ian Cole, and...
Which is fine. I'm fine with that.
Maroon has 1 more year left at $1 million.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he still had 1 more or not.
Hagel has 1 more year left at $2 million.
Yep.
And
Stammer's going to need a new contract soon, Bogosian, and then Hedman after him.
Bogosian, Fleury, and Radish all have 1 more year left. I was going to say, Darren Radish...
He played well. I was very surprised by him.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think he worked his way right into a top 6
next year
for next season, and then which is pretty good. At first he was a little. I mean, I get it. It's just his first call up to the team, and it's right around the end of the season into the playoffs. He was playing a little timid, but I don't know, he hit a switch or something, and he was not a liability. He was a liability at first, and then I had no problem with him after a certain point. It was other players I was more worried about. So he played pretty damn good for his first showing. And I think he's 27 or something. He's an old one of those older rookies, but he was leading the friggin' I think this year he was leading the AHL. He was the highest scoring defenseman in the AHL.
Yep.
Before he got the call up. So
I just
that was good. They got some performances out of people that they didn't expect, like Perbix at the beginning of the season. That's why they traded Foote, because Perbix performed so well. And now Radish comes out of kind of not out of nowhere, but you didn't expect it really.
Radish had 51 points in 50 games to lead the AHL for defensemen. You also have Brian Elliott, who's a UFA. Hopefully you get a goaltender that's actually of decent backup status.
Yes. Somebody who's not friggin' 49, maybe somebody who's in their 20s still or something, possibly. I don't know.
Hey, maybe you could bring Craig Anderson in for a 1-year
Oh, my God. Imagine. That's where it's trending. They're going to go for the oldest guy that's available. I don't know.
There was a Twitter video of Toronto fans, blasting the team as they were walking through the tunnel, and this guy was talking about how Brian Elliott just wanted to fight people, and Elliott had his back to the fan, and you could see he wanted to turn around, and he just went right in the locker room. I was like, he should have said something, because these guys obviously, they're all on their high horses now that they finally won a series, 19 years.
Yeah.
But,
they get to play Florida.
And I think they play Florida. So obviously Bolts, though, they got more out of their big 2 guys than Marner and Matthews, and that's really what they needed. They got decent goaltending, and their defense played a lot better. Obviously, I think a lot has to do with the Lightning being tired and worn down. I think there really is a truth to that, and the Leafs. But congrats to the Leafs. So that's all you can really say, right? Steven, you have anything quickly before we? Yeah, well, the refs sucked in every series,
especially that non-call at the end of the game.
That was a high stake.
Not that anything would have possibly happened from it, but still, that was, I don't know. I don't even know how to. He's literally looking right at the friggin' guy, and I don't know. It's so bad.
All right. So, Steven, anything quickly? Leafs Lightning. We're about to start Rangers Devils period 1, and my stomach is
Who's
nuts.
in? Oh, Schmid's in.
Schmid. Toronto is. They're bound to win eventually, and if you play Tampa every season in the postseason, They're and the way things, I guess we'll go. If we break down the rest of the series, like especially the East is wide open now that Boston's done and Tampa's done, and in the West, Colorado's done. Like the previous 2 Cup winners and the President's Trophy winner are all out in the first round. And these are teams you can see making just making runs based on experience and skill and everything else. And the fact that they're out in the East now, I think anybody can come out. In fact, I think the favorite would probably be Toronto.
Yeah. So quickly, teams to win the Stanley Cup in the last 15 years: Avalanche, Lightning, Blues, Capitals, Penguins, Blackhawks, Kings, Bruins, Red Wings, Ducks. None are in the playoffs anymore. So it'll be a new team in the last 15 years to get a cup.
Yep.
It's also wild that in the last 15 years, it's only those teams that you named.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you had a bunch of mini dynasties in there. So
yeah, Pittsburgh with 3, Chicago with 3, LA with 2,
Lightning, Chicago, LA,
Tampa with 3 because you named them 3 times, right? No, was it last 15? No, it
last
wasn't.
15 years.
No,
they weren't last 15, but they have 2, and then obviously one other Stanley Cup Finals appearance.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just give the Devils Rangers stats because I know that you two are going to be talking a lot because I'm going to be over here.
Oh, I'm not going to say anything. I'll leave.
We can both leave if you'd like us to.
Game 7. Rangers tie game at 3 games apiece with 5-2 win in Game 6. Haula leads the Debs with 3 goals, 5 points. Hischier 4 assists. Schmidt has played well after coming in for Vanacek. 172 goals against, a 937 save percentage. Shesterkin 179 and 939 save percentage. Has been stellar as well. Kreider 6 goals, 9 points. Fox 8 assists. Rangers were chewed out by Coach Gallant after Game 4 effort. Team made no adjustments in Game 5 and basically laid down. I said that in the Devils podcast. I was very upset after Game 5. Game 6 win was desperation, and both teams obviously have that now, facing elimination. This series has been so Jekyll and Hyde, each team just having brain farts out the yin-yang. It's been tough to predict anything in this series. Players from both teams that need to step up, being Meier and Panarin. And we're in Game 7 right now, 17:35 into the first. It's 0-0. You guys can give your prediction. I'm obviously hoping for a Ranger win. I think I said 4-2 on the podcast for the Let's Go Devils. But what's your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I kind of have to, I guess, stick to my
Ranger,
guns here. Right?
Ranger power play. Ranger power play looks like.
I picked the Devils in 7, so I guess I got to pick a score in which the Devils will win.
No,
Game 7, right? I guess.
You said they'd win.
3-1.
Okay.
The third being an empty net.
Oh, that was a leg trip. What is he complaining about? Bashing. All right, Schwimmer.
That's exactly where they left off last game with early power plays given to the Rangers, and this is exactly how the Devils will lose.
Well, we need to score on this power play. We need a good opening 10-minute goal. Really take the crowd out of it.
Panarin needs to do something. He's been pointless in last 5.
I think he has 2 assists in the series. Yeah, he hasn't been good. There's no doubt about it.
It was a Macaulay trip. Good old Wes Macaulay.
Yeah. Hischier. Oh my God.
God.
That was a Wes Macaulay trip. Well, Rangers on the just gave up the power play. So Adam Fox with apparently a hook.
There it is.
All right, let's get to the next series.
Wes Macaulay and TJ Luxmore?
I guess so. Yeah.
I just know.
Quickly,
God.
Kreider's the
horrible.
That's that's just as bad as the trip, if you want to call it. Oh my God, I can't. I'm gonna lose it on this podcast. Kreider, the all-time playoff leader, goals and power play goals for the Rangers. He's also the all-time leader in goals in elimination games in the entire
right there,
NHL.
I guess it's called.
Just this series is gonna be. They said it. There was a meme on Facebook of a person basically rolling into or like lying down outside of a door, trying to come into a place, and it said the Rangers Devils winner after or going to Carolina. That obviously makes sense that one of these two teams is just going to be throttled, or not throttled, but tired. All right. Do you want to go Boston or do you want to go to the West first? You guys choose.
I don't care what you do. Stay in the East.
Stay in the East. Yeah,
stay in the East. All right, so we had the Rangers, Devils, Leafs, Lightning, Hurricanes, Islanders. One of the
that
worst
ended already.
Yeah,
games that I've. No, but I'm just but I'm saying one of the worst games
did
that
end?
we.
No,
it wasn't before we had the podcast. Scoring still an issue for the Islanders. They had 5 points total from the first line of Lieb, Horvat, and Barzal. 5 points total. They lose series 4-2. Sorokin played well enough to win as well. He had a 2.6 and a 9.29 save. Aho 7 points. Secondary scoring were the catalyst for the Canes. Anderson did play well at end of the series after Toronto started the first 3. So even Brendamore said something about possibly doing a goalie back and forth, a swap.
There we go. Here we go.
Yep.
Because it works every time.
Yeah, it works every time. Islanders with the fastest 4 goals in playoff history, 2 minutes and 18 seconds, besting the Habs of 2:35. You said it before, that Stastny overtime goal in Game 6 was one of the worst goals we've seen as a clinching goal. Obviously, Islanders stink. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs, but, what do you guys, any thoughts? Is it just Kane, see you later?
No, I mean, like I said last podcast, I picked the Islanders for the sure sake, and I don't even know why I make picks anymore, to be completely honest with you. But I figure myself to be pretty knowledgeable about hockey, but my picks are just. I think I'm like batting like 20% on my picks all time, if that. That might be high.
Our Eastern Conference picks leave something to be desired. It is not.
I got if the Rangers win, I got everyone wrong. Every single one of them is wrong.
Too. No, I hope you are wrong.
But no, this I don't know. The series was kind of what we expected. I mean, I'm sorry for any Islander fans who they're just not an exciting team, and it's just kind of their style. And they're successful at what they do, which is fine. But I don't enjoy watching them play, to be completely honest with you. And Carolina, I'm glad they took advantage of their weak offensive depth. Because Sorokin kept him in when he could, and it's probably the only reason why I went to 6. But I'm still concerned about whether Carolina is legit or anything. Like, I don't care how many games this Rangers-Devils series is going to. I just don't think Carolina is strong enough. They're not strong enough in goal. They're okay defensively. I thought they would be better defensively, but they're not. And offensively, they got depth, and they got some lines that can roll. And you get the fourth line center scores the game-winning goal. Even though it was terrible, he still scored the game-winning goal. But it's there. I don't know. They're just not impressive.
Their top 3 forwards, wings
scoring is very good though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Burns is awesome. So, there's not much else you can say about the Hurricanes Islanders. It was kind of boring, and that's kind of where it ended. Was
that the least interesting series to all of us on this podcast? Like Islanders Carolina, like we could give 2 shits about that series.
There we go. He's not even watching Tampa, and he's already swearing.
I'm not. Is Eric in the room? Tell Eric earmuffs. Eric earmuffs. Don't listen to me.
Knights, Jets. Let's go. Bruins, Panthers. So Panthers stunned the Bruins with the Verhaeghe OT goal in Game 7. Bertuzzi,
which I called, by the way.
That was. And did you see Sheldon Keefe? He said he was mouthing it as Verhaeghe gets it. Not your backhand, go forehand, and then he scores, and you see him lose it. Bertuzzi earned himself a nice contract this offseason, 10 points, 5 goals. Orlov with 8 assists. So those 2 guys are going to get paid. And we'll talk about Schwinn talked about Jeannot as the losing so many picks for not really much. Wait till you hear what they gave up for all these players to basically lose them this offseason. Mega addition Keith Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk with 11 points, 5 goals. Montour with 5 goals on defense.
He was a beast.
Bobrovsky stole. Yeah, Bobrovsky stole the series after coming in Game 4. Ooh. Key saves for the Cats. Olmark pulled in Game 6 for Swayman. There were 27 goals scored in the third period this season between these 2 teams, which is the NHL record. So 27 third period goals between the 2 of them. Those games were crazy in the third because no one was going to win. You just had to see who scored last. Bruins, 41% power play with 11 power play goals was a record for a series. They also had 2 shorthanded goals. So their power play penalty kill was awesome.
Teams
but they just
fantastic.
could not, 5-on-5, they were awful. absolutely crazy series. Biggest upset of all time. 43-point difference between the two teams. I personally dislike the Bruins. From Chara to Marchand to Timmy T to Lucic, etc. But Patrice Bergeron has always been classy and a fun watch. And the lasting image of Bergeron crying and hugging Marchand and then saluting the fans and blowing kisses as he leaves the ice, that sucked. And he hasn't confirmed his retirement, but it looked awfully like he was going to retire. He's about to retire. It also was found out that he's playing with a herniated disc. But Bergeron just classy, and the President's Trophy curse lives on.
Yep.
Did Sergei Bobrovsky cement, like, if you're the Cats, are you okay with the contract now? Because he has knocked off 2 60-win teams in his career in the playoffs.
It's crazy.
Obviously, he swept the Lightning.
2 record-setting teams.
Yeah, and he just beat the best team in all the regular season of all time.
So what does that predict? He's going to get smoked again second round?
Probably.
I mean, his contract is still awful.
It's still bad.
No matter what. I mean, if they win the cup, then yeah, it's like, okay, I guess it was worth it to give him that for one season. But yeah, no, it's a terrible contract no matter how you look at it or what he does really.
Ugh.
But yeah, the one thing, it was the one thing that we had gone over, like, what would it take to Boston to lose the series? And it was their biggest strength all season in goaltending.
Yeah.
Once I don't know what happened. Like, you don't expect it. I don't think it was a complete meltdown by Ullmark, but that is the Ullmark we all remember. He's just okay, right? He's not like the Ullmark we saw all season. This, hands down Vezina Trophy winner. There's no doubt about it based on all of his stats and everything that he did. And Swayman, his stats throughout the season as, the not even the 1B, whatever you wanted to call him, was also fantastic. And that's what it was going to take. And he was, I think, probably a little worse than pedestrian. And that was it. That was the end of it. Boston scored enough. It's not like he didn't get goal support.
All right. Here's, and this is why I kind of led it to the Tanner Jeannot thing. Boston gave up 2 firsts, a second, a third, fourth, and fifth for Tyler Bertuzzi, Orlov, and Hathaway. All of them are UFAs. They also took a cap penalty for next season by structuring the Bergeron and Krejci contracts in a way to go all in on this season. It's a huge loss. Not just losing on the ice. Off the ice, it's going to kill them for a while. It's
just wild how much, like we've talked about in the past seasons, how horrible this looks when you don't win. Like, all things considered, the things that Tampa gave up for their acquisitions were a lot. They overpaid for all of them, but it doesn't matter because they were all key pieces in them winning the cup. And that, you can look back at the end of the day, you look back and it's just like, it doesn't matter because they won the cup. That's the main goal, is to do whatever you can to win the cup, and it worked. But when you do all that, which Boston did, and I think those acquisitions were fantastic. I think it bolstered their lineup tremendously. Yeah. They needed a couple pieces.
Bertuzzi especially. He was phenomenal.
Bertuzzi, and even Orlov fit wonderfully. Yeah. Even Hathaway is that, like, the fourth line, grinder pain in the ass player, and Bertuzzi produced. It's just like they had it all there. And I don't want to blame it all on goaltending, because I don't think goaltending lost them the series, but I think that you really saw how much this season they depended on goaltending. And if your goaltending isn't like that other level, then I guess they're just kind of a team that can play 7 games with the Florida Panthers and then inevitably lose. They're not that dominant team that, never did they, I don't think they ever lost this many games in the course of 2 weeks or whatever it was over the entirety of the season. So
they lost 7 home games all year and 3 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Caitlin on Facebook Live, Schwim, glad to see half your face with a laughing emoji. And then Ray Leo, the complex of the playoffs completely changed last night. And it did. 2 teams that you would expect to be in the cup finals race are ousted. It's an epic loss, and I for sure liked it. I'm sure you guys did. Seeing Boston fans upset is always a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, especially it's always, I don't like to wish ill upon anybody, but when somebody is so overly confident because your team is so completely dominant and then they just fail, like monumentally. I'm looking at you, Schwim. There's like this little bit of satisfaction. I'm kidding, Schwim. I didn't get satisfied by Tampa getting swept in that playoff series.
What's worse, though? Is that 2019 sweep worse than what happened to Boston, or is what happened this year to Boston worse?
No, the sweep is still worse.
You still think that's worse?
I still think it's worse. That's a sweweep. That is like you were competitive in the first period of game 1, and that's it. That was it. The entire series to a really bad. And that Columbus team was much worse than this Florida team.
And then they got smoked second round.
Yeah, which they should have in the first round. But
we'll talk about Toronto in a minute, to Toronto Panthers, but I don't think Toronto is
tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the
West. Let's get to the West real fast, and then we'll do our predictions for the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Knights versus Jets. Knights win the series 4-1. Stevenson and Stode led the team with 8 points each. Brossoit played well. On the other side, injuries and poor play and goal led to the loss. Pionk leads the team with 7 points. Lowry 4 goals. Sounds like Hellebuck, Wheeler, Scheifele, and Dubois could all be on their way out. That
team really flies under the radar of being a complete disaster.
Tire fire.
Like inside the locker room, not so much on the ice. They play pretty well for the most part, but the dynamic and chemistry and environment and atmosphere and that entire organization is complete chaos. And no one really ever talks about it until they have until something like this happens and it kind of comes out and players become more vocal. But, man, Winnipeg is in some trouble.
Connor Hellebuck, the main goal is to win a cup, and I'm starting to run out of time here, and I can feel it. I'm not interested in a rebuild. I'm looking to compete every year. I enjoyed myself more in 5 games than I did all year.
Come this way.
Bonus ripped his team. Well, we'll talk. We're going to talk about the off-season. The off-season goaltending market is going to be awesome, and we'll get into this a whole bunch. But there's at least
only
3 or 4 goaltenders.
Tradable goaltenders.
Yes. Sorry,
free agent goaltender market is weak, to say the least.
I think there's 4 goaltenders that could be traded that are all difference makers. Bonus ripped his team after no. Yeah, he ripped his team after no pushback. 3 of them are American. You forgot Demko.
Thatcher's a free agent too? Shit, I didn't know that.
No. None of them are free agents.
Trade. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying he was free agent.
Just saying, it's Hellebuck, Saros, Gibson, Demko are all potential trade bait as far as starting goalies go. I think Demko the least of all of them, but
but I think Gibson's probably number 1. Hellebuck number 2. Or maybe even
Saros, they really haven't even mentioned him being like a trade target, but it makes sense because Nashville at the deadline sort of, tried to unload some players and they were sellers and they almost made the playoffs. But yeah, they have, the best, probably the best goalie prospect in the entire league that's kind of waiting in the wings right now. So at what point do you want to kind of hand him the reins and move on from Saros while you can still get a big package?
No, it's not Luxmore. Some other weirdo.
That's Tripp. Bonus ripped his team.
Not a single person paid attention to anything I just said.
Yeah, no, I did. I was paying attention.
You said something about
what I say.
You said something about hot chocolate.
What was I just talking about?
And I think you said something about Crosby. I don't know.
You're talking about goaltending.
No.
Bonus.
I was talking about one person. One person. That's it. One name came up who I was talking about. Nope, it wasn't
Saros. It was Saros.
It was Saros. He did mention that it's something we haven't really talked about Saros, but that they're possibly rebuilding, and I agree. But we'll get into this more in the off season.
Raylio didn't pay attention either. Yeah. I appreciate. I appreciate. Our listeners aren't even listening to me either.
Yeah,
I'll keep it up.
Caitlin goes. Wasn't expecting a podcast tonight. Well, we were trying to entertain all you fine fellas and ladies out there.
I should have sat this one out.
Yeah, we all should have just sat it out.
I did say something about hockey. That's right, Mavis Adams says. I think he said something about hockey. Yeah,
she's not wrong.
I'm having a good time.
Not wrong. Okay. Bonus is, quote, "Same crap as in February, no pushback. Their best players played so much better than ours. Gotta have pride." Wow, point blank show.
Oh, Fox, what are you doing?
The Rangers Devils tied 0-0, 7:04 left in the first. Rangers power play, 47 seconds left. Just keep giving notes. Oh, Schmid. He missed Zibanejad, missed a shot. But Bonus, he gave all the push onto his players, and you could see guys like I think Wheeler came out and actually had a press conference saying that he was unhappy with the way his coach handled it, and that they should have he should have kept it in house. But Bonus, there was no.
He's a straight talker.
Yeah,
he's not gonna keep that in.
Yeah, I kind of like it, and there's going to be a bunch of players are.
Is Rick Bonus wrong? Does anyone think he's wrong what he's saying?
No, his players played horrible
because he actually came out and said it like, "Oh, he shouldn't be saying shit like that." No, they sucked, and he's
outside
he's
of Kyle
saying
Connor. Yeah, I mean, no forward really stepped up. Lowry had 4 goals, but they lost Morrissey. Pionk had to carry a load. It was bad altogether for the Knights, and I thought they were going to win, but yeah, that was bad on me.
Jets.
Sorry, Jets. Yeah. Anything on the Knights Jets before we change to Oilers Kings?
It was over in 5.
Which Jets team is worse, the Winnipeg Jets or the upcoming New York Football Jets?
If they're worse than the Winnipeg Jets.
Without even the season starting, I think it might be the New York Football Jets.
I think it might be the New York Jets. Yeah, I agree. All right, Oilers Kings. Edmonton wins the series 4-2. Poor penalty kill drowns the Kings. Oilers were 56% on the power play. They had 9 goals in the series. 56% on the power play.
That's nuts.
The goalie play was also shaky. Korpisalo was not good. Skinner with the broken stick that led to the tying goal in Game 6. Draisaitl 7 goals, 11 assists. Bouchard 8 assists. Kempe with 8 points for the Kings. Edmonton relied on their offense, and it got them through once again. The LA Kings just couldn't score enough really to match them in the series. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I was hoping LA would have a little more, but LA, I think they need to focus on finding a goaltender. So I think they have a very good roster, kind of top to bottom, and a lot of very good young talent. But goaltending is just, I think they thought they had it in Cal Peterson. But
looks like out of play, Ranger power play. Yes, it is Ranger power play.
I came on a delay.
Come on, guys. Score the GD goal.
There it is. You can say gosh Kings, darn it. It's okay.
Goddamn goal. Kings have...
Whoa. I didn't say that.
Kings have enough prospects that they could make a serious run at Connor Hellebuck. And it makes a lot of sense for them to go after someone like that. Yeah.
Any of those goalies, yeah.
So they're, Kings, Penguins, Ottawa, you could all see them making a play for a goaltender here.
They can, if they want to stay young, they can offer sheet Jeremy Swayman if they want to.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Stay young with the rest of them and risk it.
Yep. Avalanche Kraken. Kraken, the first ever team to knock out a Stanley Cup champion, being a incoming, their first ever franchise win is against Stanley Cup champion. They win in Game 7. Ran in 10 points. Taves 8 assists. Gord on his way to MVP, as Shroom called. 6 points in the series. They had 15 players score a goal in this series for the Kraken, and that included no McCann goals, and he had led the team in regular season with 40. Cogliano, the broken neck in Game 6 on the bad hit from Jordan Eberle, which there was no punishment. Bednar had the quote, "I don't know. I can't figure it out anymore. I don't even try." And obviously,
they can't. There's no point even trying to figure out.
Obviously, ref
no one
throughout
can.
All 8 series. I think we talked about it on Saturday. All 8 series, there were multiple calls by referees that were mind-blowing, mind-boggling, and not just one team getting screwed. All 16 teams got screwed in one way because of refs just poor, everything. Just
I think Ray Leo asking how was there no hearing on the Cogliano hit, which there absolutely should have been. But I think just to summarize, at least the first round so far, these playoffs in suspensions, hearings, and penalties and majors is Cal McCarr, right? He was assessed a major. They sent it to Toronto to replay it to see if it was a major. They reduced it to a minor, and then he was still suspended for a game. I don't like that. To me, pretty much sums up everything in a nutshell. That is just the biggest bunch of nonsense I've ever heard as far as assessing a penalty. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Because Eberle isn't dirty, that's why I didn't get one. Isn't the point to limit these kind of plays, whether you're dirty or not dirty, or you're just unfortunate accident? It's you got to limit these plays from happening and people getting hurt. The guy broke his neck, and there's nothing. It's amazing. Department of Player Safety is a joke, and it's run by
the Department of Player Safety. The thing about that, and even the NHLPA, and I've talked about this before, is that their main concern is protecting the offender. That's their main concern. They feel bad for the person who committed the penalty, and they want to make the punishment as agreeable as possible to that player without considering the player who either is now injured or, who probably injured, right, on the play. So that's they're never taken into case in any of this. It's always making the situation better for the penalized player.
Artemi Panarin is
not playing well.
Miserable. But yeah, I mean, Kraken just overall, right? They played a great series. They took out a team. I know Kale McCarr was out for a game, but so was McCann. They beat a team that had the talent. Rantanen was awesome the whole series. McKinnon was McKinnon. But they used their depth to beat a depleted team. You had the issue with Vali Nichushkin, who was away from the team after, I don't know if he just stayed away because of this, but he had a girl that was heavily intoxicated in his room. They should have called the ambulance for her after one of the wins in Seattle. And it's, that's just overall a bad situation it looks like. And hopefully it's nothing worse than just her being, over alcohol. But, he was away from the team and they had injuries and everything. And obviously, there's no excuses in playoff hockey because you turn it up a different level. But, Seattle played awesome. Yeah, they really did.
Seattle and Florida both completely turned it up. Florida was so, they just kept coming and coming and coming. It was like the opposite of Winnipeg. There was no bounce back from Winnipeg. Florida and Seattle were the opposite. They would bounce back every time. That freaking Game 6, not to get back to the Eastern Conference, but that Game 6, Boston, Florida was Adam. It was one of the most craziest games I've ever seen. The amount of comebacks and tying goals and shorthanded goals on power plays and then scoring on the power play to go back up. That game was. That just showed, I guess, Florida's, resilience or whatever you want to call it. But Seattle's the same thing. Seattle's they are surprisingly a very deep team with all the different scorers they have. They don't have just one guy, scoring all their goals for them. They have, everybody's contributing on that team. And I think they're a pretty sneaky good team that I thought they were good, but I didn't think they were, this good to knock off, Colorado the way that they did. But they're my new favorite team, obviously, right now.
If the Rangers don't stop giving Jack Hughes breakaways, I'm going to throw my hand through my screen. Oh, my God. Luckily, Shesterkin actually saved this one. Anything else? Avalanche, Kraken?
Go Kraken against, who are they playing? Dallas?
We'll talk about that in a second.
Dallas.
Stars Wild, final series. Stars took the series 4-2. Rupe, Hintz, and Sagan led the way. Hintz, 5 goals, 12 points, leads all players in points. Rupe was awesome that entire series. He had the hat trick in Game 2, and just overall, he was a beast. Sagan, 4 power play goals, taking over the net front presence where Pavelski was out. Ottinger, 201 goals against, 921 save percentage. He was awesome, and that team rolls with this kid. He's amazing as a goaltender. Marchment, we talked about it, great ad in the offseason, played really well in the series. Pavelski could be back for Game 1. The Wild Stars were nowhere to be found. Kaprizov with only a goal in 6 games. The penalty kill was bad. Hartman led the team with 5 points. Gustafsson played well overall, 921 save percentage, but just couldn't seem to get anything going on offense. Fleury in the post game, good save, Hank. God damn it, Shesterkin.
Hank, wow.
Because Game 7s are Hank's game, and I'm in Game 7 mode. Fleury in the postgame said he intends to play one more season, and then that might be it. Fleury is another one that could be traded if Gustafsson is. Gustafsson is actually an RFA. He could be offer sheeted too. So we'll see what happens to Gustafsson.
No way they're letting him go.
They have no cap. They're going to have actually the cap from both Parise and Suter goes from 12 million to 15 million next year. They actually lose another 3 million for next season, which is very funny.
No one's given even an offer sheet. No one's given Gustafsson a monster contract.
No, probably not.
So they'll be able to afford him.
And Fleury said he would come back even if he's the backup. He doesn't need to be the starter. He'll come back.
Yeah. He said he just wants to be back. He intends to stay in Minnesota, unless I guess Minnesota asks him to leave, and then I guess that would be another consideration.
Minnesota needs a number one center. I don't know where they get it from, but they need somebody to play with Kaprizov because it's just overall not a good situation. Stars, Steve, you talked about it. You think they're the deepest. Yeah.
Wow.
You think that
you
Stars
heard that one. Okay.
You think that the
Stars
said something
about Grams.
Yeah. You think that the Stars are the deepest team in this playoff, and they've kind of proved it.
Yeah. I think I still like Dallas. Again, you never know what could happen, especially with Seattle. But in that Minnesota series, they lost game one, which of course you never want to lose game one because I think I forget what the percentages goes down for the teams who lose game one, winning the series. But I mean, they rebounded wonderfully, and they had another hiccup in game 4, I believe it was, when they lost to Minnesota, and then steamrolled them kind of in the last 2 games. Yeah, I like them. I think currently Ottinger is the best goalie in the playoffs right now, and I think that's very important moving forward.
Look at this, Jack Hughes.
Dean didn't hear that.
Well,
that just goes to show that he's not listening to me.
No, you said they're the best team you think going forward. I heard that.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Purple Monkey Dish.
I talked about.
Did you not just say that?
Something else too. I said something else too that would have ruffled your feathers, but.
Well, I'm sure.
That's why I thought you said "whoa." I thought you reacted to Steven's. Saying
I thought so too. I was waiting for a rebuttal,
and it wasn't.
I looked up and Jack Hughes did a pirouette and fell over, and I was enamored. End of period 1, 0-0. This game is going to be a dogfight the entire way.
Over 3 on the power play.
Yeah, it's not good. You can't go over 3 on a power play.
In the first period, getting all those chances. Got to bury one. Oh God, the intermission with these clowns.
Yeah, I'm luckily watching.
Why is every single intermission team terrible? On ESPN, on TBS, TNT, all these people that they get, they're just not good.
All right, Steve, how would I have ruffled my feathers on that one? Sorry.
No, I'm not. You can go back and re-listen to the podcast.
Yeah, I will re-listen.
Then you can.
I'm going to listen to both points you made, and then I'll comment on the actual podcast and be like, "You're wrong, Steven." All right, so those were the series coming up. Stars versus Kraken. They play Tuesday at 9:30. So that'll be game 1 in Dallas. Game 2 for that series is Thursday, May 4th, to be determined. Also at Dallas. So Stars versus Kraken. What are you guys' thoughts?
Stars and Kraken? Stars in 6. Although, Kraken can keep being giant killers, I guess, but I don't know. The Stars, I don't know. At this point, I can't bet against them. They're the team I picked to win it all, so I'm sticking with them, and I'll say 6 games. They should, in theory, get through this series with relative ease.
See, Jake
Ottinger,
the same thing.
Jake Ottinger can be the decision maker.
I don't know, man. But I think I want to pick Dallas because I think they're a better team than Colorado anyway. But man, I don't like. I know I'm going to be like, I was thinking about Seattle and not picking them, and look what happens. They do the same thing. They beat them in 7 games or something like that. Should I go with my brain or my heart?
I'm gonna speak for most people who are listening right now. No one cares.
No one cares what my pick is. All right, so then I won't make a pick, I guess.
There you go. We'll just give you 0 or negative in my scoring.
You might as well, because it probably will happen that way anyway. I probably won't get credit for whatever I pick
where
anyway.
I'm at. If the Rangers if the Rangers win tonight, with my scoring, I will be at -5.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but did you pick Devils in 7? You'll get credit for the 7 games, according to
but I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't.
That's bullshit.
I think if you can pick the team that wins in the number of games and the exact opposite happens, I think you should be penalized in a very special way because that is truly remarkably wrong in your assessment.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Shrim, really. So what are you saying? Stars is what?
You actually want my pick?
Yeah.
I don't. He does.
Oh, Steven doesn't. All right, so Steven, don't listen. I'm gonna go bold. I'm going Seattle in 7. I'm wearing the T-shirt. I'm in. I'm going Seattle in 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Kraken. Stars in 5, not Kraken.
5. All right.
In 5. Yeah. I just think that the goaltender is the big difference, especially from last.
I do too.
Georgiev is not Jake Ottinger. And
no, it's Grubauer. Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Never mind.
Yeah. From the past years.
Yeah.
And Grubauer had we didn't actually talk about it. Grubauer actually played pretty well, but he's bound to fall back to earth. I just don't think he can keep that up. He didn't play well all season, and all of a sudden he's.
I don't think Martin Jones. Yeah, Martin Jones isn't gonna. I think goaltending. I think can be the difference. I think, but at the same time, I really do like the Kraken's roster, and I do really like watching them play, and I think they can grow even further into like probably even a better team when some of these younger players like Beniers and the Shane Wright, who's got sent to juniors, right, come and mature and take the reins of this team. I think they can be better, but I just think Dallas, top to bottom, is a better team. And I think they do have the speed to match the Krakens. They're maybe not as fast, but they're heavy, and they could really, punish a lot of those forwards and even the defensemen on that Kraken team. So I think goaltending will be a difference, but also at the same time, I think Dallas's roster is just much more complete.
Right, Golden Knights, Oilers, Schwim.
Oh boy,
this is a tough one because I don't want the Oilers to win. I want the Golden Knights to win, but this is tough. I don't know who the hell to pick in this one. I think they're a pretty evenly matched team, but I'm worried about Edmonton being Edmonton and their goaltending and their D just shit in the bed and like they normally do, and then the other team takes advantage and the series is over. I don't know. I'm gonna go Golden Knights. Fuck Edmonton. Sorry, Eric. Golden Knights in. I'm gonna go Knights in 6.
Steven.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I think
Knights in 6.
Knights in 6. They need to keep Edmonton off the power play, and I think they can be disciplined enough to do a better job than LA. I think LA is a little younger, less experienced, a little dumber. Goaltending, I don't think on either end is going to be an issue because I think they're both poor, mediocre to poor, right? So I don't think it's going to be a thing of which goalie plays slightly less worse. I guess it could come down to that, but again, I think the Edmonton Oilers team is still entirely too top heavy. And granted, it can get them through. It did the last series, and I guess it can again.
Get you so far. I don't think it could take you the whole way.
I agree. It depends on who you run into, right? Because you can get through an LA team like that because of all the things I just said. But I think Vegas has experience enough to deal with that.
Bottom team that's pretty good.
Yeah, they're very, very balanced, and they don't have you can't just focus on shutting down a line of Vegas because they're pretty much just equal all the way down, and they're also over the cap by $10 million or something at this point, so they got that advantage. Anyway, I'm gonna stick with Vegas and 6 and see if I get that wrong again.
All right, I'm taking the Oilers. I just think that they still have the scoring to beat them. The goalies both stink in this series. Well, not stink, but they're just not very good. I don't think either one of them's going to steal a series. The defense on both sides can score, and Ekholm has been an awesome add for the Oilers. He's played extremely well. He's very good playing with Evan Bouchard. He's kind of, jump-started him in this playoffs and at the end of the season. The Oilers in general, you have the best player on the planet, Connor McDavid, and he was upstarted by the second best player on the planet, in Leon Draisaitl. They were both fantastic last series. They have other guys scoring, and I know Eichel had a good series. We talked about Stevenson and Mark Stone, and it's going to be a shootout again. And I just think that Oilers can win shootouts, so I'm taking Oilers in 6. Leafs Panthers, Steven.
Leafs Panthers. I think the Leafs got the proverbial monkey off their shoulders, and they're finally back. Shoulders back. And I think they're going to start rolling a little bit, especially over Florida, because I don't think Florida is as strong as they are. I mean, they Matthew Tkachuk and some of those stars, but I don't trust Bobrovsky. I'm not too fond of their defense. Yeah. And again, Toronto is a very complete team. Also, they have their weaknesses as well, but certainly not like Florida. So I'm going to pick Florida. Toronto in 6.
Toronto in 6. I like it.
This one's tough for me because earmuffs. Fuck Toronto because they just beat my team.
God.
But again, I'm with the whole Bobrovsky thing. I could see him completely, going off a cliff, and then before you know it, the series is at 3-0 Toronto. I don't know. I think also, though, Florida showed me something in the series against Boston. They might be able to do the same thing against Toronto because, honestly, Toronto didn't play all that great against Tampa. Tampa didn't play good against Toronto. I think I'm going to do it also. I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Panthers again. I'm going to go Panthers in 7. I'm going to say the Rats of the Eastern Conference are going to take it and break the hearts of Toronto. Also, another thing, I think Toronto just won their Stanley Cup. They finally got out of the friggin' first round.
Yeah.
So they might have a little bit of a letdown. I think game 1 they might have a little bit of a letdown. Florida can maybe take advantage of that and then go from there in the series. Because again, like I said before, Florida they just keep coming, man. They're a pretty tenacious team. So I think they can. I think they could. They might be able to. They might be able to do something. Was that Melvin? Right in the microphone.
Yep.
I saw him up. I saw him up on the what do you call it, on the fridge before, just sitting there staring at us. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Statuesque.
He wasn't moving either. It was very statuesque.
All right, so for this series, the Panthers are restricting ticket sales for games 3 and 4 to American residents only. Good. Trying to bar the Maple Leafs fans from coming down to Florida. I like it.
Good.
But at the same time, if you can't just naturally fill your building with your own fans, that says something about your organization a little bit. And don't be proud of the fact that you're doing that. It's pathetic in all honesty.
We've known they've been bad though.
The opposing team is more passionate about going to watch their team. Yeah, it's just let it be. Let them. Whoever come, the ticket sales go to whoever. If your own fans don't want to be there, then they're not going to be there, and that's your own fault for not marketing the team better, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. They're just altogether, it's a bummer to watch them sometimes.
There's friggin' lots of empty seats during their playoff games.
It's unfortunate seeing good teams still have no fan base or very weak fan bases. But
Stephen, quickly, you talk about the goaltending market, right? The best UFAs on the market for goaltenders: Cam Talbot, Tristan Jarry, Bernier, Freddie Anderson, Ben Bishop, Semyon Varlamov, Jonathan Quick, Nedeljkovic, Mackenzie Blackwood, Laurent Passois, Mike Smith. Yeah, it's not
could be interesting.
I don't think Bernier is. He's not. Is he done? I think Bernier is done, isn't he?
Well, it just
Career?
they have him on here.
A lot of those guys.
Yeah, he's the highest.
Oh,
You go by
Smith
cap hit
obviously is
down,
already
I
done
guess.
too. Yeah. So
God,
no, the free agency pool is not good. So that's why Pittsburgh, we'll get into another show, but I'm hoping they go the trade route because I don't want to sign any of them.
So my pick, I'm going to take the Leafs in 7. Both these teams can score, and the Cats showed something. They're tough and they're feisty, and I like that. But I really think that the Leafs are a different team this year. Some of the guys they've added have really stepped up, including
I
Ryan
think
O'Reilly.
Samsonov, I think, played pretty well.
Is decent.
All things considered.
He's decent. Yeah, and I don't trust Bob.
Better than we thought. I don't trust Bob. In fact, I would take Samsonov over Bobrovsky at this point, which is kind of sad to say, but I think Samsonov is playing admirably. I'll call it that. I don't want to get too hype him up too much.
But the defense on both teams are suspect. They have some holes. Montour had 5 goals in that series, but he had so many bad penalties that led to goals for the Bruins. He almost single-handedly ruined Game 7 by himself, except for he came back and got the tying goal with, a minute left in the game.
And Gudis is going to take a stupid penalty every game.
Yep.
So.
And they're relying on Eric Staal playing 20 minutes a night. And I remember Eric Staal playing 20 minutes a night for the Rangers, and that was tough.
Mark Staal?
Yeah, Mark Staal. Eric Staal. Yeah, Mark Staal was playing 20 minutes a night. Eric Staal was actually playing pretty decent defense. But I just think that Marner, hopefully, has turned a corner. And we'll see. They have the playoff monkey off their back, like you said, Steven. And we don't know where this team can go because they've never had that type of pressure just lifted off of them. And I really think that was a different kind of pressure that was on this team. 19 years.
I really remember. I mean, besides them just choking, they're a good team.
Yeah,
they had a great regular season, and we just forget about it because we're just used to them just going to the playoffs and losing. That's just kind of what they do. But their team is very good. So I mean, you look like I was saying, you look at the roster compared to everybody else. With the exception of Dallas. Well, in the East, I'll say in the East, and even regardless of the Rangers or the Devils move on, I think Toronto has the strongest roster. Of course, I think the X factor would be Rangers and Shesterkin, but I mean, still, I think. They're a great team. They just need to not choke. That's basically it.
Yeah. So I got Leafs. I think I take it in 7, and we're gonna wait on the next series, which would be Canes and the winner of Devils Rangers. I think that either team going in there, they're going to be beaten up, and that might have an early advantage for the Canes to start. And then we'll see where those two teams kind of take it off from there. Whoever, like I said, does win. It's going to be interesting, that series, because both those teams have more talent right now than the Canes, but it's just how badly are they going to go bruised and battered and tired into their first game or second game. One other thing, Flames fire head coach Daryl Sutter after 3 seasons. He actually just signed an extension last offseason that enacted this offseason. Yeah, they're going to pay him $4 million per year. Apparently, exit interviews, people were not happy with the coach, and he got canned. U.S. wins the U18 World Championship. Will Smith, Gabe Perreault, Ryan Leonard. Will Smith was really good. He's going to be a top 5 pick in this draft. He's a fast guy. He's extremely fast. Potential 2024 number 1 pick, Macklin Celebrini, was on Canada. He did, Canada had a rocky play, but he looked really good in the series. We'll do some stuff as we get to, we'll talk about the teams that were really ousted in the offseason, where we expect teams to do and go from here. You guys got anything else before we call it a do? Oh, trivia question, real fast. Trivia question real fast. Who has the winning percentage for franchise in the playoffs? Series winning percentage by franchise.
Best series winning percentage?
Yep. Best series winning percentage.
Seattle, because they're 100%.
Ah, damn it! It was a trick question. Yeah.
I was trying to think of ones who haven't played any.
If you're not going, by the one
minimum
series, Edmonton Oilers have a 679 series record franchise winning percentage. Tampa Bay second,
maybe right here,
676.
Another stat that I just saw about Tampa: overtime games since 2019 or 2020, I forget. They're 1-10 in overtime.
Nice.
I'm like, Jesus Christ! Yeah, in the playoffs in overtime. Horrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
They suck in overtime.
Well, gents, my heart is about to start the second period, and my heart's gonna coronary.
Good luck. Good luck to all of you out there who have something riding on this game.
Game 7
Join us, Father.
I know it's miserable.
Join me and Steven.
Yeah, just remember, you're not alone if you lose, and when you lose, we're here with open arms to welcome you into the losers bracket.
Romantic chemistry.
Join us.
Thank you, Steven. 425.
You're welcome.
Actually, 4-5. I love this beer.
I give this a 4. This is New Zealand IPA is interesting. Interesting, but good.
Shrimmer, you said
4.0. 4 also, yep.
I like it.
Delicious.
Shrimp, take her home.
I got Stephen Wright quotes that are fantastic. Depression is merely anger without enthusiasm. What happens if you get scared half to death twice? And lastly, if at first you don't succeed, destroy all evidence that you tried.
Michael Meier, hear him come.